everyone, this is Cassandra from Homeschool Peace. Today I wanted to share with you Logic of English Foundations Level B. If you're new to Logic of English, check out one of my videos below. I have a video that shows an overview of the whole Foundations A through D level, as well as a video that goes through Foundations Level A and gives you a sample Foundations A lesson. So let's go ahead and dive right into Foundations B. Now B is going to be mainly for your kindergarten students. This could also be easily done for first grade, as well as if you had a child in pre-K who already went through Foundations Level A and they were moving ahead really well, you could easily just jump right into B. You could also choose to use this program if your child was using a different language arts program and already knows how to write those lowercase letters and knows single letter phonograms. You can jump right into level B. There is a section in the beginning of B called the Before You Begin. This is a great overview before you jump into the actual lessons. It's going to have the child make sure that they know those lowercase letters, as well as making sure that they know their single letter phonograms. So what I would recommend is going into that section, going ahead and getting some of your single letter phonogram cards that look like this, reviewing and going through them as flashcards, like for the letter U, that they know that doesn't just say and U, that they know the letter U is going to say U, oo, as well as for the letter G, that they're going to know that the letter G goes G and J. So those would be great things to make sure that you're reviewing with your child before you start, and also just pulling out those lowercase letters. Now I'm going to be jumping into a lesson for today. I'm going to actually be using lesson 60 as my example. There are 40 lessons for each Foundations book, so this is about halfway through the level B program. So for the first thing that we're going to be going over is a new letter to write for the day. They're going to be learning how to write their uppercase letter C. So what I like to do is pull out those manuscript cards. We have the tactical cards. If you are using cursive, you would easily be using your cursive cards, but this one's manuscript for my home. And I would pull out the stroke card first. For this one, it's the roll stroke. So I just make sure I practice with my kid the strokes that they're going to be using as part of the letter learning for the day. I would then also bring out that lowercase letter. I like to review the lowercases as I go through this, just making sure they didn't forget how to write the lowercase letters from level A to level B. So we would practice our lowercase, just tracing over it. These are sandpaper cards, so they have a texture to it. They're raised. And then I would bring out the uppercase letter, and we would practice making the uppercase letter. For this one, I would just say to them, the strokes is written on the back of the card. It says start just below the top line and roll around just to above the baseline. So I would practice this with them, let them feel those cards. Then I would have them pull out their whiteboard and have them practice writing a few of the uppercase C's on their whiteboard, as well as I throw in a couple of those lowercase letters as well. And then from there, they would get their worksheet for the day that's from their workbook. In their workbook, they would be able to select which line that they prefer to make their letter C on. There are multiple lines because some kids do really well writing small and other ones do really well writing big. So you get to let your child pick which line do they feel most comfortable with and go ahead and make 3 or 4 of those letters, and let's circle the one that looks the best. So after they've learned their letter, then we go into a new phonogram. Now in level A, you've learned the single letter phonograms. So now we're going to be starting to introduce in level B multi-letter phonograms. So now for here, this is our phonogram ing. So it's ing. So when we learn this, I bring up 2 fingers so the child knows that the sound ing is being made with 2 letters. So we can see here ing, ing. And then we can practice words on the back. Our example is sing. After we learn the phonogram ing, I would bring out my Whistling Whales book. This book is for level B and has the phonograms they're going to be learning, as with great pictures and all kinds of words using that new phonogram. So I would read this to my child. I would say ing, and then I would use it by reading these words. We have ding dong, bang the gong. So I would have them practice saying those words as well and try to have them read those words that are using the new phonogram. For this particular lesson, we then go ahead and start using our letter tiles. Now these letter tiles are cardboard tiles that many of the Logic of English parents will put magnets on the back side of these letters. And so they can then stick on, I'm using a cookie sheet, they stick on to. So during our lesson, I would say we're going to be using our new phonogram ing, and we're going to be learning some new words. So then as the teacher, I'm going to be moving these tiles in place So as I'm going through, I'm going ing, sing, and I'm going to have them try to say sing. And then maybe I move this S out of the way, and I'm going to move a new phonogram. And I said, can you read that for me? And they would go ing, wing. And then I would move my S back in place, and I say, now can you read this for me? And they would say swing. So we're using our letter tiles as practice right in the middle of the lesson. These letter tiles are also great whenever we're going through our spelling words. If your child is tired of handwriting for the day, you can pull these out and they can be spelling their spelling words by using these letter tiles. So then after we went through those letter tiles, the next activity we have is a workbook page. This workbook page reviews our ing phonogram. They're going to be going ahead and using the ing and selecting a different phonogram to start the word to match for the correct picture. So after they complete that for the day, I would use the Foundations Level B program across 2 days. You're talking about pretty much like a 5, maybe a 6-year-old that is going through this program, and that is a lot for a lesson to sit through. So at that point, I would end my lesson and shut the book, and then we would pick back up tomorrow. All right, so now we're into day 2 of our lesson 60, and we would start with phonogram bingo. This one, sometimes we would use it as a bingo. Sometimes we even use it almost like a tic-tac-toe board, and I would just play with my child. And so there's a chart on the board, and the child is going to be going through and saying the phonograms, and then if they say it correctly, they can use a bingo marker, or maybe they use a pencil and they cross out the bingo square that they say correctly to either try to fill up their bingo card, or possibly for our family, sometimes we do it to make almost like a tic-tac-toe diagonal or a cross. And so they're practicing their phonograms and having fun doing it. So the next section is going to be our spelling words. There are 5 spelling words, 3 they want the student to definitely spell, 2 that are bonus. And so the first spelling word is the word thing. So I would say to my student, thing, what is that thing? And so then I would ask them to segment it, and I would use my hands, and I would go sound out thing. There you go. Ing. So I have 2 fingers in the beginning. In the middle is a single finger, and at the end, I have 2 fingers. And so they would know that the word thing has a 2-letter phonogram, a single-letter phonogram, and a 2-letter phonogram. So I would help them by saying, okay, find the phonogram, or write, okay, okay, and then ing. And so in this word, they're using then their new phonogram, ing. So after they would either handwrite, or they could easily use those magnets writing the word thing, we would go through all 5 of those words. I went through all 5. I was breaking it up over 2 days, so I thought, why not? Let's just go for all 5. Then we're going to move on that day number 2 into our reader. Now the program does have readers. In level A, they made their own readers, but in level B, they're going to be using the readers that are provided. This is reader 4. And so there's a few questions that they want. Now you're starting to have the child read as well as being able to comprehend what they're reading. So there are questions in the book. This one is, can Pete pick a pet? And you know that you're using the right book because we can see here that the phonogram they're working on is ing, as well as it shows the other phonograms that they've already learned that they're going to be practicing. And the child's going to go ahead and read you this book. And then after they read the book, you would ask them the questions. Now in this program, there are what we call their challenges. These are optional things that you can do as part of the program. I tried to do as many as I could with my kids. For this lesson, they are supposed to write a story called The Pet Store. And they're going to have them start to write a story about a pet store. And if the student isn't at the point that they can write it, they can obviously tell you the story as the teacher, and you can write it for them. But these early writing activities are perfect for this level and are great and are something that you really don't want to miss out on. So when you see the challenges, try to take the time when you're going through this, even if you have to slow down a little bit, to make sure you're adding in some of those creative writing activities. Additionally, as part of the program, you can choose to pick up the Young Artist series books. This is a separate set of readers. They just are going to reinforce the phonograms that they're using in the readers as part of the actual lesson. So there you have it. That's a complete lesson 60 that your child would go through over the course of 2 days. As you can see, they're learning those new uppercase letters, they're learning those new phonograms, they're doing some practices, they're handwriting, they're also doing their spelling words, and they're reading. So now I just want to talk about a few other pieces of foundations that isn't included in that particular lesson. We have these game cards, and so as part of the program we can see that because again we use manuscript, we have both a manuscript and a book face of each of these cards, and this is just getting them used to seeing how it could be written in different ways. One game that we play all the time that we love is we play memory match with these. So you would just have these down on the table mixed up and they're flipping it over trying to make the match. We also like to play Go Fish with these cards. So perfect ways of practicing your phonograms. Some of these games are part of the lessons. Other ones you could just add in as additional practice as you go through the program. Another part of the Foundations B program starts into spelling rules. Now these spelling rules are mixed into B. They're not something that they have them quite memorized yet, but it's something that you start introducing. The memorization of the spelling rules you see more in level C as well as definitely in level D, but they do start introducing them. So something like English words do not end in I, U, V, or J. That's something that they would be introduced with, or we often double F, L, or S. So these are the spelling rule cards, and I even like to, starting in level B, if we hit a rule that's introduced, I go ahead and I pull these cards and we just start practicing them. So when we start a new lesson, I'll just pull them out. Hey, let's just go ahead and review the ones we've already done. Our family also likes to put these to song. So for this one, we would sing like, English words do not end in I, U, V, or J. So we just put them to a nursery song, and so we sing the songs together, and they're a great way to practice and learn those spelling rules. Right, and there you have it. That's the end of Foundations Level B. And if you use this program, go ahead and leave some comments on what you love about the program, or if you have any questions and you want to see any materials that I have here, I would love to be able to show you more. And if you like this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.